The language is used as a major tool of safety, controlling international transport operations, especially on air and water. The airlines business is a risky business because a single accident could damage the whole airlines industry. While traveling to different destination, pilots have to communicate with the control tower of different countries. Among the controllers, many of them are non-native speakers. In these circumstances, a common lingua franca is necessary. English is chosen as that lingua franca. An airline's pilot has to maintain continuous communication with the control tower in order to ensure the safety of the passengers. A dangerous accident can occur because of miscommunication. Safety is the supreme objective of air navigation services. In the aviation industry, many people work together in different positions, for example, pilots, controllers, operation officers, flight attendants, etc. When they speak English, it differs from each other in varying degrees. Flight attendants' language differs from pilots' language. Flight attendants, sales officers, traffic officers use conversational English. Pilots also use conversational English while communicating with passengers, but when pilots interact with the control tower, their mode of communication changes. This is known as aviation language. Aviation language has its own set of vocabularies, like A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie, D for Delta, E for Echo, and so forth. See Literature Review chapter. The pilots expand the words so that the controllers can easily receive the message and vice versa. In the aviation industry, despite all the safety measures, mishap happens, where miscommunication plays a significant role. Most people are not familiar with air traffic services. Air traffic services have been introduced long after the invention of airplane. Necessity of establishing air traffic services was felt when number of aircraft flying started increasing. Air traffic controllers controls all flights within 25 miles from ground up to altitude of 4,000 ft. They give takeoff clearance to the outgoing aircrafts and landing clearance to the incoming aircrafts. At the same time, they guide other training flights, instrument check flights, etc. So, controllers have to manage a huge number of aircrafts at the same time. Many aircrafts arrive and depart at a time, and the only medium of communication between pilots and controllers is through the English language. Since English is spoken all over the world, it has been chosen as the language of air traffic system. Nowadays, the numbers of aircrafts are increasing, and they have to operate within limited airspaces. So, if pilots or controllers do not communicate effectively and efficiently, the entire system could be endangered. Clear English with clear pronunciation is important during in-flight communication, especially when pilots and controllers communicate with each other. Clear pronunciation is necessary for good communication. That is, pilots need to communicate clearly and unambiguously with the control tower to reduce the possibility of confusion in sending and receiving messages. According to International Civil Aviation Authority Journal in 1944, English choose as a lingua franca in aviation sector. Not all pilots have a good command of English. Pilots who have poor pronunciation make it difficult for a controller to understand due to the presence of background aircraft noise and the effects of stress on the voice. In the pilot training courses, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, have recommended a number of courses: pre-taxi planning and briefing, task prioritization, use of standard operating procedures, SOPs, for surface operations, and effective crew resource management, but not a single course on language training. Crystal points that over 180 nations have adopted the recommendations of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, about aviation. English terminology. Arguments about safety involve many factors, and it is difficult to isolate one and rely on it entirely. There have been some fatal mishaps where the primary cause was miscommunication. In such an instance, the controller generally cannot understand the pilot's speech, or the pilot fails to catch the controller's instructions, and accidents occur. So, miscommunication should not be overlooked by the aviation authority. Many accidents have occurred because of miscommunication. Therefore, if the language is not properly conveyed, there is a possibility of mishap. Not only correct English, but also clear pronunciation is equally important. In the past, many accidents occurred because of miscommunication. Good communication is the key to the aviation industry. In a marketing environment, miscommunication means the loss of sales, and pilot-controller miscommunication can cause the loss of many lives. A number of accidents have occurred over the last 30 years where poor communication was partially responsible for some of them. English language proficiency score is a must for the pilots to be entitled in their license. Without a valid ELP, you cannot fly in an airline. For applying for an airline job, you need an ELP score of 4 and above. In this course, we will try to understand the English language and improve it to the aviation standard to clear your upcoming ELP exam successfully. See you in the course.